Good morning and good Shabbos. This week's Torah portion is the dramatic revelation where Yosef says to his brothers, I am Joseph, is my father still alive? And the brothers were stunned and startled, and they couldn't even respond. And Yosef goes on to console them and say, listen, don't feel bad, don't feel distressed, because you didn't sell me into Egypt. God sent me here to save the land from famine. But the question is, when Yosef reveals himself to his brothers, he says, Ani Yosef, I am Joseph, Asher mechartem osi Mitzraymo, whom you sold into Egypt. And the question is, if his intention is to forgive his brothers and reunite with them, why is he, as they say, rubbing salt in their wounds by reminding them, I am Joseph, who you sold into Egypt? They obviously know that he is Joseph, that they sold into Egypt. Furthermore, Benjamin is standing there. Benjamin wasn't there at the sale. If anything, he's embarrassing them in front of Benjamin. Why would he have to bring up that point when it's the elephant in the room? Everyone realizes that he is the Joseph that they sold into Egypt. That's why they're so embarrassed. Why does he actually have to state those words? And one of the very novel interpretations is that the word asher typically is translated to mean whom. But in this context, it could also be translated often as because. In other words, what Yosef was saying to his brothers was not, I am Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt, but rather, I am Joseph, I am the viceroy of Egypt, I am the one who saved the country from famine, Asher, because you sold me into Egypt. Meaning, if not for what you had done to me, I would not have reached this position of realizing my dreams to be a ruler and a leader and to save the entire country from famine. And this is a lesson that's applicable in all of our lives. Sometimes we look at circumstances that at first glance may seem to have been negative, but then with time we come to the realization that if not for these events, we would not be the person we are today. And therefore, rather than looking at it as we are a victim of someone else's misdeeds, we realize that they were all wind beneath our wings. They were all events that were propelling us to our ultimate journey and destiny in life to achieve what we needed to achieve. And with that mindset, we're not only able to forgive others, but we're able to embrace them wholeheartedly and be grateful for the circumstances that led to our own self-discovery and realization. It's a true story I heard about this girl who grew up in an observant home, and unfortunately she veered off the path of Judaism and got involved with the wrong crowd and got involved with drugs and alcohol. And for many years, her parents had tremendous pain and aggravation trying to save their daughter. Thank God, with time, she came around, came back to the family, came back to the path of Judaism, and started to lead a productive, healthy, and clean life. This girl went on to get engaged, and as she was preparing to go to the chuppah on the night of her wedding, she called her mother and father aside and said, Mom and Dad, I need to speak to you before I go to the chuppah. And they went to talk to her, and she said, I must ask you for forgiveness. I know I put you through some terrible years of pain and suffering. And she started to cry, and she said, I wish I could erase all those years of hardship, sleepless nights that I gave you. Please, as I go to start my married life, forgive me for all the anguish you endured because of me. And her father looked at her and said, my daughter, you don't have to ask for forgiveness. We actually, Mommy and Tati, have to thank you because you taught us what it means to be a real parent, to love our children unconditionally, to love our children not only superficially, but to have real pride in who they are and accept them for who they are. And you taught us how to be much greater parents than we would have ever been without this experience. You enabled us to be a better human being and person and parent for all of our children. Thank you for allowing us to go on this journey with you to really deepen our own selves and our relationship with all of our children. That's the story of all of our lives. Hashem leads us on paths. It is our job to grow and to learn and to discover more of ourselves as a result of every experience that God puts us through. Like Yosef, when we look back at life, we can say, these are the events that brought me to my position, to who I am today, and I would not give up any of those experiences. Have a wonderful Shabbos.